All right. Thanks for joining us today on this Ask the Expert series. We have a great show for you today. It's Amber Rust from Two Color Photography and Cooley Collective Studios. So thank you, Amber, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, a lot of you are amateur photographers, and you've got a lot of time on your hands right now. We all have these cell phones that take these amazing photos. So I've asked Amber to share 3 tips that you can do to make your photos even better. So Amber, go ahead and give us our first tip.
Yeah, great. I get asked frequently, like, look at this picture, isn't it great? What do you suggest? What can you recommend to make it better? So as I was asked to do this, I kind of thought of the 3 things that I see the most. So my first tip is kind of 2 tips in one, but we'll stop at the first half of the tip and then go from there. Is to check your background before you take a picture. My husband the other day was doing the homeschooling parent while I was working, and he sent me a little notice. Go check Facebook. I posted this really great thing of Max, my little 10-year-old's science project. Go check it out. It's really great. So I was really excited, and I went and checked my husband's Facebook profile, and he had done a picture of my son's science experiment over the kitchen sink, and the only thing I could see was the pile of dishes in the sink. I just thought, oh my gosh, I don't believe you just put that out for the whole world to see. And I looked totally past the point that my son was doing this amazing little science project. And of course, when I got home, I praised the science project and they did a great job. But that's probably the one thing I see the most.
One thing, funny that you bring that up, because before we even started this video, my wife came in and made sure that things were organized and it looked okay, and
right.
So she was the one that set it up. So I think in general, women just are naturally looking at those things that maybe a clean house, things like that. So that's a good point.
And I would say, like, if you're in the middle of a candid moment, don't miss the moment because there's a diaper on the counter, because it is about the moment and capturing these moments. So don't let this tip overwhelm you so much that you miss the first steps or miss that moment, because it's hard to say, okay, stop walking, hold on, freeze, I'm just going to move this blanket, and so make sure you capture the picture. But if you're kind of setting something up or going to post something on the Facebook, make sure the background is not a sink full of dirty dishes. So the next tip that kind of just goes along with it, so on my notes, I just called it 1A because I actually came up with 4 tips. So I had to find a way to sneak that in there. I had to cheat a little bit, but it does go really well. It goes hand in hand, is to move in closer to your subject. That just naturally will eliminate a lot of your background by itself. So if you're taking a picture of your child's first steps and you can just move in a little bit closer, all of a sudden the focus is on the person that's the most important in the picture anyway, and that is your child, rather than having it so far out that maybe the focus is grandma's 80-year-old couch in the back corner, which those are important too. I actually have a few pictures where I look at and I think, oh, I remember grandma's old couch. But for that moment, your child taking his first steps has got to be what's the focus of that picture.
No, that's great. I did a little photography in the past, and I remember that was one thing that I had to make sure that I was doing is, really, what's the subject of your photo? You got to make sure that you capture that. And a lot of times you'll see family portraits that, grandma came to town, and so they set everybody up, and you've got to zoom really in to even see faces. And by the time you get there, you lose a lot of detail.
Right, exactly.
So, they would have scooted a little closer. It would have been probably a better photo.
Absolutely.
A great tip.
Absolutely. So another tip that I have that is probably the biggest problem in the photography world, I think professional photography, amateur photography, cell phone photography, is blurry pictures. As a matter of fact, a lot of times people say, look at this cute picture. Now, it's a little blurry, and I probably hear that more than anything else. So a tip is to just hold still. And I say that, and I know that your toddler is running around the house at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I understand that, and in that case you just do the best you can. But when it comes to the photographer, a lot of times you're so excited that you're capturing, oh my gosh, look at this moment, and you're moving, and so that automatically makes your image blurry. So if you can, even right before you click the button, take a quick minute exhale, hold your breath for a second, just a second. I don't want anybody, passed out on the ground, but hold your breath for a second and just make sure you're steadying your body. A lot of photographers will actually lean up against a wall before they take the picture, and it just gives them that little bit more stability so that your blur inside your camera will be minimized. Like I said, if your toddler's running around, there's not a lot I can tell you on that. I mean, I can, but that would take another day. But as far as helping lower the blur is just to hold still as the photographer.
That's a great tip. I think something that we can all just take a little extra time to make sure we are still. I remember some of the old digital cameras when they first came out, there was a delay. So you'd push the button and then people would move and then it was just blurry. So that's
and you
another
didn't know
tip.
until you got your film developed that it was terrible.
Yep.
So our last tip is to notice light. I think that would be the biggest issue we see with pictures is lighting issues. A lot of times, I'm going to go back to the story. I grew up in a little town called Vernal, Utah. And for those that know Vernal, that is the land of the dinosaurs. We're actually, as you enter the town, there's a big dinosaur at the entrance of the town, and there's a big dinosaur at the exit of the town. But every time a family member would come to visit, every time we had to go to the Dinosaur National Monument or the Dinosaur Museum. And there's this woolly mammoth outside of the Dinosaur Museum. And every time we would have to get a picture in front of the iconic woolly mammoth, and we'd have all of us kids and whatever cousins or grandma came with us in front of the window, in front of the woolly mammoth. But cameras don't work well in backlit. So all you can see is the silhouette of 5 kids and whatever relative just in a silhouette. And then you see the beautiful brown fur of the ugly woolly mammoth because the camera just can't quite figure out the lighting for a backlit situation. But I think we've got one of those for every single year of my entire life. My mom will argue that, but I'm pretty sure we can find something like that for every year. So watching your backlighting in that situation, you could even just turn a little bit so that the window is now side lighting you. Also outside, a lot of times you'll say, well, there's a tree and it has some shade. Let's go under the tree for the picture. But a lot of times I would say 99% of trees have enough space in between the leaves that the sun is kind of sparkling through a little bit. And then on your faces, you have sunspots and shadow spots from the tree. And another problem with that split, we kind of call it your lighting is when like there's a shade, but you're only standing halfway in the shade and halfway in the sun. And our cameras they just don't know how to process that. It's called dynamic range. And our eyes and our brain can look at something in the shadow and in the light, and we can see both. Almost indefinite, or not indefinitely, what's the word? In a lot.
Infinitely.
Now I can say it. A lot, infinitely. But a camera cannot see the infinite difference between shadow and brightness. So if you're standing half in the shadow and half in the shade or half in the light, half of your face will either be pitch black and you won't be able to see it, or half of it will be so bright that it'll look like you're glowing from the sun itself. So that's our tips with lighting, is to just notice lighting and notice sparkly light or notice shade versus it's better to be completely in the shade or completely in the sun if you're ready to take a picture.
Those are all some great tips. I think I've learned something from you here as well. And so hopefully you at home have learned something from Amber. So Amber, how can they get a hold of you? And then if there's something you'd like to share, maybe a promotion you're doing right now, go ahead and
absolutely.
Give us a spill.
We're obviously on Facebook. We have websites, twocolorphotography.com, spelled out TWO, not the number 2. Our gorgeous studio is also on the website. On the website is on the World Wide Web at CooleyCollectiveStudios.com. And right now we're hurting a little bit, like a lot of businesses are, just to try to cover the cost of our rent and our heat. So we're going to offer a little promotion where if you want to rent the studio and you need maybe a little bit better deal than what we have on our website, give me a holler, and we've got some special deals that we're offering just to get some bookings in. Now I say that, but as soon as the governor, if our county locks down, we will follow the government regulations and we will lock down if we need to lock down. But so maybe get in soon.
There is some urgency there. Now, I'm going to have to give Amber a plug. I'm going to move my camera up here. So I don't know if you guys have seen these pictures. Maybe you can see it or not. See, the lighting is bad. We've got glare.
Yeah.
But you've probably seen a lot of family photos in this wonderful studio that our family photos were taken in. That's Amber's studio. So it is amazing. She's added a awesome new barn door. She's got a kitchen. She's got a bunch of fun things there. You can rent it out for little events, things like that. So again, thank you so much, Amber, for being on the show.
Thank you.
And if you guys have any questions, I'm going to leave her contact information on the video, so you'll see that, and then also in the comments below, so you guys are able to reach out if you have any questions for her. So thanks,
Wonderful.
Amber.
Thank you.